Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Chatbot Chess Championship. In case you are new here or you have forgotten since the previous episodes, this is a mini-series here in the beginning of 2026 where I am pairing some of the most famous chatbots in the world, from the ChatGPTs to the Groks to the DeepSeeks, all against each other in a knockout tournament to crown a champion. This leads to absolutely ridiculous games. The chatbots cannot remember any of the positions, and that's what makes it really exciting and interesting. 12-dimensional chess with 1,028 squares instead of 64. Very riveting stuff. Catch up on all the episodes in the playlist. This is episode number 4. This is the last quarterfinal. This is the most exciting knockout tournament that is currently going on anywhere in the world. Second maybe only to Team USA beating the Canadians in the gold medal match of the Olympics. That was crazy. Can somebody who follows hockey please correct me if I'm wrong? Like, the Canadians looked unbelievably dominant today. I was watching and I was like the Canadians dominated 80% of this hockey game and they still lost. And that's how chess works too sometimes. Here we go. So DeepSeek with the white pieces, Meta with the black pieces. Every single time I break down the moves for all of you, I break down the riveting commentary and insights from the chatbots because they are horrific, horrendous. Here we go. DeepSeek opens with e4. Every single chatbot so far has played the move e4. That's because when they go out into the atmosphere, stratosphere, LLMosphere, and they look up openings, it generally returns the fact that this is the best move. Okay? Now, I was quite surprised by Black's response. Meta not only played a new opening, it also delivered a huge amount of personality to the game. First of all, it played the move e5, which none of the bots have played yet. Most of them play the Sicilian defense, although we saw one French defense, which was certainly unique. So e4, e5. Now, to be honest with you, I never know which of these bots have a strong opening library. ChatGPT claims to be really good at chess. It took me some convincing to even get Meta AI to play a chess game against me. I don't even know, and when it went e5, I was thinking, well, it's just going to stop playing moves really fast. So DeepSeek went knight f3. This is the most common starting position in any level of chess, whether you're watching this as a beginner, or a grandmaster, or Magnus is watching this, or Stockfish is reincarnated as a human and is watching this. Yeah, this is the most common starting position. And Black plays knight to c6. Now White has many moves. Ponziani, Scotch, Italian, Spanish, 4 knights, etc., etc. Yeah, DeepSeek plays bishop b5 and says, we have now entered the Ruy Lopez opening, bishop b5. Black now, again, has many choices. This is a very regal, historic opening, puts pressure on the knight, which defends the center. You're not really threatening to take this knight, and in some positions, you then want to reposition your bishop, depending on how Black defends, and you want to advance in the center like this. All good. A6 was the response. This is technically called Morphy's defense, because I think Paul Morphy was the first one to play like this. You just immediately attack the bishop, and generally the bishop goes here. If this trade were to happen, and then you took this pawn, Black would respond with queen to d4, counterattacking both of your pieces, and that's why more people don't play like that, and instead they opt to put the bishop back on a4. Right, so bishop back to a4. All good. Now Meta plays knight f6, targeting the pawn in the center, and rather than defending it, White castles. And for this move and this move only, this pawn is unprotected. Now from this position, Black can either take this pawn and then the game gets very crazy, or not take the pawn, and the game just is less crazy. It's called a closed Spanish. In a closed Spanish, imagine you and your neighbor both put up fences and both do construction renovations on your own lawns. One of you builds a pool. It's a very American thing to have a pool in your house. I don't think that's a thing like anywhere else in the world. And then, or maybe not. I have no idea. I just think it's a uniquely, you got to have the in-ground pool. Or you put up some nice landscaping, or you build the second like small guest house. Yeah, this is what you do. You might be wondering why you wouldn't take this pawn. Well, the thing is, Black hasn't developed their pieces yet. Black still is 1-2 moves away from castling. In the fact that they are 2 moves away from castling, they don't want to waste too much time taking a pawn. You'll probably end up having to give it away anyway, because White is going to get so much counterplay. But it's a decision, and that's chess. Instead of that, Meta plays b5. It plays a move kicking back DeepSeek's bishop to the b3 square. Here we go. And then it plays the move d6, which is a move. It's definitely a move. I think in this position, it might be a mistake. It's at least inaccurate because white can maybe play knight to g5. That's what I think. And then you can attack f7. But then I think black would play something like d5. Regardless, normally black at least has a bishop on e7 or c5 because black also wants to castle. But black plays d6. And now white has many choices like d3, h3, etc. But white plays this move c3. DeepSeek is just intent on advancing in the center with the move d4. You want the full center, you want it supported by pawns, and then you want to develop your knight and your bishop. So far, a very instructive play, but it's going to end very soon, and the stupidity is coming. I was actually really impressed by this move from Meta. Again, here, you want to develop your bishop, and you just want to castle your king. It's good principles. You get your king out of the middle. It has much less chance of getting attacked. You generally don't want to play moves like knight to a5. Although this move is actually very reasonable in this particular position. You move your knight to the outskirts of the board, but the point is that you try to get the bishop. And more often than not, a knight for a bishop is a good trade. Now white has to spend another move going backwards, and beginners watching will go, why did you move your bishop 1, 2, 3, 4 times in the opening? You literally tell us not to do that. Because chess is really confusing. Because we tell the beginners a bunch of principles, and then as it turns out, those principles don't always have to be followed. And as you get up the rating ladder, those principles have to be followed even less. And in many openings, those principles aren't followed in the first place. But if you try to play like this, you're going to lose all your pieces. So you follow the principles for now. Bishop c2. The other benefit of the move knight a5 is that you can play the move c5 here with black. You can take more control of the center with your pawns, and it's not so simple here for the move d4 to happen. But again, as all of these LLMs do, at some point they start totally losing their minds. The first half of the game is nearly finished, and they're going to start losing their minds. d4. Now black can take and take and take, but still black should probably get to castling. Here, after d4, meta plays c takes d4, which is the entire purpose of the idea, and now c takes d4. Now, white, if white gets one remove, of course, we'll just get a totally winning position. So we have c4, and knight takes d4. Okay, so the knight comes in from the outskirts of the board, jumps an extra square and takes on d4. Overall, not like totally terrible for white, but you know, we were expecting the illegal moves. The knight teleports in from the outskirts. So they say knight of the rim's dim, but not if it can just jump into the middle of the board in one move. Now, things get real weird here. So the knight takes on d4 for white. Obviously, DeepSeek plays knight takes d4, right? And now, Meta AI uncorks serious wisdom. This is what Meta AI had to say. Wait, you mean your knight on f6 takes mine on d4? That's knight takes d4 for you. So I'll respond with queen takes d4. Wait, your knight on f6 takes mine on d4. That's knight takes d4, so I'll respond with queen takes d4. Yo, Meta just switched colors in the middle of the game. It was like, oh, you're taking my knight with the knight. Okay, I'm gonna go queen. I was like, okay, I'm just learning my lesson for the next edition. Chatbot Chess Championship 3 should actually have like functioning cortexes. They're bots, but you get my point. So here I had to tell Meta that it's playing with black. I don't know how it forgot that. Maybe it got hit in the head. Too much hockey. And so it calmed down and it played pawn takes d4. It finally understood that everything is fine. Nothing is being, nothing is crazy. And while DeepSeek just responded, queen takes d4. So far, DeepSeek's playing like the Terminator. It's playing a fantastic positional game. Queen takes d4. And so here, Meta castled. Now, castling here with black is not possible. In order to castle, you would need to consume your own bishop. Now, if you, the puny human who doesn't understand anything, tried to castle here with black, it just wouldn't work, because it just wouldn't work. You would have to move your bishop. So, Meta castled. And before it did that, I offered it a question. I said, Meta, where is your dark squared bishop? Meta looked at me, and I swear to you, Meta wrote C1 smiley face. For the intermediate and advanced players, You probably realized, even with no board, and now here it is, that's c1. So Meta castled, and I asked, hey, Meta, where's the bishop? And it said c1. Now, this is probably how a parent feels like when they are trying to get their 2 or 3-year-old to learn a skill, and the answer, or a 30-year-old relative trying to learn a skill, and the answer you are getting is so outlandishly dumb. Like, you just have to deal with it, you know? It's kind of like, have you ever seen clips of like literally anybody getting interviewed in a hearing in Congress? Anybody. It could be literally any person. And they ask them a question. You've probably seen these clips. It doesn't even matter. It could be somebody you support. It could be somebody you hate. They get asked a question by a sitting congressman or woman. And it's just like, they just don't answer the question at all. This is basically that. It's like, hey, where's your bishop? Right here. No. No, I said, no. Meta, where's your dark squared bishop? I swear to you, it said c8. Bro, it looked at me and it went, oh, my dark squared bishop. Yeah, c8. Bro, c8 is here. Holy moly. I was like, all right, we're just going to proceed with the game. Just, like, it's just like, what? I was like, okay, you castle, no problem. Now, I'm curious, when DeepSeek is going to start doing ridiculous things. DeepSeek played rook d1. It's a fantastic move. Activating the rook, putting pressure on the weak pawn, centralizing the rook. Yeah, Meta just proceeded like it didn't just have the world's biggest brain rot. Rook b8. Okay, rook b8 is, it doesn't make a mistake, and as long as it's not blundering all of its pieces, that's really all I care about. White plays knight c3. I was very impressed. It remembered it had a knight that it hadn't developed. It does that, and I was actually even impressed by Meta's response, which is b4, realizing it's protecting its own pawn, or not at all. Attacking the knight on c3, and after the move b4, DeepSeek very accurately played knight to d5. It's a nice move. Now here, white is up a bishop. When you are up material, you should look to either trade the pieces down to a winning endgame, or use your material advantage to overwhelm the opponent and go for an attack. When I see these diagonal attackers pointed in this direction, I am thinking some sort of a checkmate. Just a matter of when. If the knight takes the knight, I might even take with the pawn to open up my light squared bishop, but any capture is good. And it's even better when the opponent plays the move knight takes e4. Knight takes e4 is a terrible move. It's a trade of a knight for a pawn, but worse, and this is what happens, you now lose all defenders of your king. White can very easily here get 5 attacking pieces at the king, and black has no defenders, just pawns. And when I saw this, I had this feeling like, is DeepSeek gonna put this all together? Is it actually just going to spot this? And, well, Meta continued to blunder pieces. Meta played bishop g4, attacking the rook on d1. And I thought, this is the moment. Like, you have mate on the board. And if DeepSeek just won, this would have been the shortest recap of the entire GothamChess Championship. But DeepSeek instead saw this and played the move f3. Now, f3 is just not... You can just take the bishop. Of course, it's free. f3 is reasonable because it blocks this. What it didn't realize is now Meta is going to start teleportation. X-ray vision, it takes the rook. As this is going on, in my mind, because I'm the front man, I see everything. I'm thinking, well, if it doesn't see this now, it might never see it. And if it never sees it and it keeps getting hit with illegal moves, well, bad things could happen. Meanwhile, it just played rook takes d1. Now, that's not allowed because you would be teleporting your own rook, but we're just going to let that one slide. And from this point forward, Meta AI has a full-on breakdown. Meta AI here just completely loses its mind. It's the equivalent of, there's funny channels on social media about, like, crazy things that happen in the streets or the subways of New York City. Might be called, like, I don't know, subway creatures. Stuff, like crazy stuff goes down all the time in a big city like New York. And if you just watch and observe and feel a bit of pain deep in your soul, that's how you're going to feel over the next few moves. So here, Meta, I swear, plays Queen e7 checkmate. Played Queen e7 and it literally wrote mate. And I was like, okay, well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in the last 30 seconds, considering it has a strong track record. I said, Meta, how is this checkmate? And it said, oh, my bad. Yeah, you're right. Queen e8, checkmate. I was like, meta. I didn't even tell you to make another move. I just want you to explain to me how you could possibly think queen e7 is checkmate. And like, for who? Is it made for white? Like, is that what you think is happening? Anyway, after some deliberation, we settled on queen e8. Honestly, I felt kind of bad. Like, honestly, I probably should not even intervene. I should just be the referee, but I felt a bit bad. I felt like a referee of a children's football game. Like, I remember when I was a kid, we played another team from another town, and we were winning 7 or 8-0. And when you're a kid, there is something called mercy rule. I don't know if this is just an American thing or anywhere. You are, like, not allowed to score more than a certain number of goals. It's, like, demoralizing for the other side. You have to win by only 7 or 8. And so for the last, like, 30 minutes, we just ran around and passed the ball. Or maybe we could score and they didn't count it or something like that. So, yeah, this is kind of me implementing mercy rule. I'm like, you know who needed mercy rule? Italy versus Finland recently. That's, yeah, crazy. So queen e8 appears on the board, offering a trade of queens. Now, it gets really ridiculous. So, of course, DeepSeek does not see checkmate. Let's just forget about that completely. Instead, it just develops the bishop, which I have to tell you is a very principled decision. Like, it just develops and it threatens to take the pawn and it threatens to do this. Now, meta here uncorks its next trick, which is queen taking its own rook. Now, this, like I said, is a child having a breakdown. The kid doesn't want to play anymore, but doesn't know how to escape the competitive setting, sort of trapped in virtual reality, doesn't know how to take off the goggles. Queen takes b8. In fact, here, DeepSeek protested. DeepSeek didn't even want to continue the game because it saw queen takes b8 is not possible. And I literally had to tell it, hey, can we just proceed with whatever's about to happen? Because, like, and it literally said, okay, I'll fine. I'll play on in this version of surreal chess. Queen takes b8, and it went knight c7, and I think it felt bad. I think it wanted to give back the knight to meta AI here, so it just played knight c7. It's a good sport. It's like a good older sibling. What it didn't see coming here is that now meta would swap out the queen for a knight. So for its next move, it literally played knight b8. So now it not only took its own rook, it demoted its own queen. Meta AI managed to give up 14 points of material for nothing. It just lost them on its own. They didn't even get captured. First time in history something like that has occurred. At this point, after knight takes b8, DeepSeek continues to feel bad for its opponent and plays bishop takes c7, but it has to stop giving up its own pieces at some point because if the queen gets resummoned, it's only going to be bad news. And to my shock and horror, that is exactly what happened. Out of nowhere, meta put the queen back in the corner. It decided it did not have enough of the game, and it wants to proceed, so there is a queen on a8. Now, of course, you can take the queen. Of course, you can deliver checkmate in one move, but you're playing a tantruming little kid, so instead of that, you play bishop takes b8, and it responds queen b8. So now meta has actually brought back its queen, and it's only down a bishop. And I think sensing that, DeepSeek decides it's time to not have any more fun, and we are ending the game. And so it plays, I think here it overthought things. I even sent DeepSeek a picture of the position, and I even told it all of the pieces. And having said all of that, it thought, you know what, I've just given up a bunch of material, so knight f6 check. Knight f6 check is not possible because a knight cannot spawn on a chessboard out of nowhere. That is not, it's not allowed, in case that hasn't been abundantly clear. Knight f6 is not a possible move. Maybe it thought that it was like doing some combination. There's no combination. It's just mate in one, and this is still mate in one. But everybody knows there is a saying in chess. When you have mate in one, you always need to look for a better move. Like anytime in chess you think you see a good move, just think for a better move. Mate in one's good, but do you have mate in five? Have you ever thought about it like that? After g takes f6 appears, it plays queen g4. I had a really fun time here analyzing the moves that it was suggesting. It was like queen g4 check, and then after king h8, I can maybe go queen h5 and queen g7. Like, what? It was like queen h5 and queen g7, and then it was like, well, also if king h8, maybe I can just go queen g7 straight away. And then I was asking DeepSeek, like it was analyzing. I was like, well, queen g7, who's defending the queen on g7? And it was like, oh, well, the thing is, you know, you would think the black queen is defending g7, but it's actually pinned on f4. And I was like, are these things really gonna make tens of thousands, if not millions of people lose their jobs? Like, that's really where we're headed? Joking aside, after queen g4, king h8, it went queen h5. It realized finally that the pattern lines up on the h7 square. And here, a very, very valiant defensive move was played by Black. Black only really has like one way to prevent checkmate, and that's to play a check. That's it. You can maybe play f5. There actually is a way, which is incredible here, to stop getting checkmated for Black. It's almost impossible to spot. The defense is to give a check on a7, and then you need to guard h7. And to do that, you would push this pawn up, and then when it gets taken, you would push this pawn up, and then from a7, you would defend h7. How about that for defensive measure? Yeah, none of that happens. Instead, meta plays the triumphant queen to g5. The queen just teleports, puts on its best jetpack, flies over to g5, and yet despite all of its best efforts, absolutely in no way, shape, or form does it defend the h7 pawn, and DeepSeek delivers the checkmate and gets the victory. And with that, the quarterfinals of the 2026 Chatbot Championship are done. And what that means is these are your updated brackets. ChatGPT will take on Copilot, followed by Claude and DeepSeek. That one I'm looking forward to a lot. We will try to use, I always try to use advanced models, not the ones that just spurt things out. And then obviously on the 25th, we will have the finale. ChatGPT and DeepSeek have put on incredible content on this channel in the past, and I hope that they do it once again. Hope you've enjoyed so far. I'm going to keep talking about this thing because it comes out in less and less days. It's out in about 9 days. I'm super pumped. Over 1,000 people have pre-ordered. Shout out to all of you. And apparently, How to Win at Chess Next Level, my second book, is already available out there for a pre-order. It doesn't have a cover, but they have launched it. So if you want to be one of the first people to order that book, you can, although there is no cover, and the major announcement for that book will come in April. But I'm also just telling you about it now because you watch the channel, and you should deserve a nice reward for that. See you all tomorrow for ChatGPT versus Copilot. Get out of here.